The next slide I wanted to share some information with to our membership is the acronym, the ODP program, which is short for the Olympic Development Program. Interestingly enough, there's some litigation with the Olympic Committee. The name of the ODP program may change at some point. The Olympic Committee, the U.S. Olympic Committee, actually holds the rights to the name Olympic Development. So the name may change, but the reality is the programming will remain consistent. So nevertheless, we move forward. The ODP program is locally supported by the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association from a macro level, supported by the USYSA, which stands for the United States Youth Soccer Association. So clubs from the Rush who are affiliates of MSYSA and the clubs around the state can send their top players to the Olympic Development Program selections, the tryouts, and the model here is looking for the top players, boys and girls, that are U12 up through U17s in general. The ODP program is done by birth year. And there's also an ODP 101 program, which is a technical program to give players some exposure to ODP, give coaches some exposure to players, and just give them some background technical training for our 10, 11-year-olds in anticipation of them taking part in the program and a selection process at U12. So annually, usually the first weekend in August, we have an ODP tryout. This summer, tryouts will be held for both genders in Canton, Michigan, pretty local for our players here in the Michigan Rush at the various branches. So in Canton, we will have a staff out to identify and select the top pool of players in each age group. At the end of the weekend, a pool of players will be announced, and the groups will go into winter training. And once we're inside the pool training at winter training, we will further evaluate the players, and eventually at the end of the winter, early spring, through games and trainings, we will identify the players in the minds of the ODP staff and the perception of the ODP staff to select the top players in Michigan. The programming for the summertime for ODP is to take our players from Michigan and take them to regional camp, which is annually been hosted in Illinois. For a couple of years, the boys were going to Kansas, and that has been moved to Illinois. So players are trained with regional staff and then also playing in games. The boys' side has generally pitted Team Michigan versus teams from other states, where the regional staff evaluates the Michigan as well as each player within the Michigan program, and of course evaluating the players from the other states. The girls oftentimes are scrambled with players between the states, so the girls staff can get an identification of how the players mix together, how they play, how well they play together with new players from other states, how quickly they can get on the same page and fit in, so to speak, mirroring our regional camp. The players that are evaluated to be the top players from Michigan are invited to a regional camp and have the opportunity to go to regional events with the regional team. U.S. Soccer sends scouts into the regional staff, regional camp, to essentially pick out players, the top players from the regional groups, to take part in U.S. national youth programming. So our youth national teams are comprised of players picked out of the ODP program, as well as there's alternative program through on the boys' side of the U.S. Developmental Academy. So there's essentially two different pathways to get to the national team, one through the ODP program, and secondly through the Developmental Academy as an option.